The draw against Brentford, look, it wasn't pretty. It really wasn't. It wasn't a game that you go, wow, that was amazing. Look, West Ham are firing now. It's far from it. But I tell you what, it was needed. At least we didn't lose. And the fact we had to come back from a goal down, I think, showed some serious character. And it's what we needed to see. It's what we really needed this team to produce. It was unlikely it was ever going to be an amazing performance, but I did feel that there were some positives in it. But there also were, obviously, of course, some negatives. But what it also has done, it's just eased that pressure a little bit off Lopetegui. He's now got a little bit of breathing space. Not a huge amount, but he's got a fair amount of breathing space because he's got a week to prepare for a hugely important game against Ipswich at home. It's interesting when I think of the fact that he's got a week to prepare because I said the exact same thing ahead of our Chelsea game when I was leading to that, and I think I said it in the preview of that game, that we've had a whole week, no travelling, all the players have been in London on that training ground preparing for the Chelsea game, and what we got was shocking. It was really poor tactically all over the shop. It was a really bad day for West Ham and embarrassing, really, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It was a game that it was hard to watch, really difficult. And that's why it was so important that I felt that we had to respond against Brentford. And obviously, bearing in mind, we'd also lost to Liverpool 5-1 ahead of Brentford. So the fact that we were 1-0 down against Brentford so early and then responded, and, as I say, I didn't respond, with amazing football, but we dug in, we worked hard and we didn't give up. And we deserved a point, at least, from that game, in my opinion. So I was really pleased by it. But what it did was the fact that we responded to a really poor performance that we got at Chelsea. Against Chelsea, at London Stadium. So we go into this Ipswich game pretty much on the same footing here. What we had before, we've got a week to prepare. It's a really important game. It's at home. There's no excuses now for Lopetegui. There really isn't. But he's got a bit of respite. He's got a bit of time now to get things right. I think looking back now at the Chelsea game, it feels like West Ham were too focused on what we were going to do going forward. We were so desperate to try and do something special and try and attack Chelsea where we could and try and get goals where we could. It feels like we took our eye off the ball where really it mattered, i.e. stopping Chelsea as well and being more well organised. It's like that just went out the window. I'd like to believe now Lopetegui's learnt his lessons from this. I'm going to approach the Ipswich game in a far more structured manner and feel like we're going to go into this with a vision of not conceding goals, because there seems to be a running theme of this season, doesn't it? We're conceding goals far too not only too much, but too early. We can concede straight away in games. We're always having to climb a mountain to get back into these games. So we don't want to be doing that. But I want to see a far more organised approach, like we got against Brentford. Organised, disciplined. Look, I know we conceded the first 30 seconds against Brentford. I hope that's put to bed and we sort that out. But in terms of how we set up for Ipswich, I just want us to look like a side that's had a week. Look like a side that's had no travelling, nothing to worry about other than one game to focus on. And this is a big bloody game. Lopetegui's got, as I've said, a little bit of a lifeline from the draw, but the bigger aspect of what he's been given further scrutiny from the media is the fact that Manchester United yesterday got absolutely hammered at home by Tottenham. Now, usually a Tottenham win, of course, would be something you don't want to see. We'd be annoyed by it. In a way, it's actually done us a bit of a favour because it's the media now has fully shifted their focus onto Ten Hag, and Lopetegui's old news. You know what I mean? It's just it's not the same calibre at the moment. They're gunning now for Ten Hag, and it's given him again a little bit more time now just to focus. You imagine now you're not going to turn around the back page. It's going to be all about Lopetegui fighting for his job. It's unlikely it's even going to be mentioned, and if it is, it's going to be pretty small. And that's what we needed. We needed a bit of a breather, from all of that, because it's just not what we needed. Do you know what I mean? Start of the bloody season. New head coach, new players. The last thing we need is media pressure, which, as I've said previously, they are absolutely gunning for West Ham this season. After what's happened with David Moyes, you just knew this was always going to be the case. So it's a big, big opportunity here for Lopetegui to go, right, I haven't got the pressure now everywhere else. The noise is dying down because it's shifted up to Manchester. So now just focus on getting this right. And I'll tell you what, this obviously isn't the preview. We'll talk about this nearer the time in terms of the Ipswich game. Watching them play against Aston Villa, where they drew 2-2, I was really impressed actually with Ipswich. Although on paper, this is the game that you kind of go, I hate saying the easiest fixture because it's not. There's no easy fixtures in the Premier League. There was no, there really isn't. It's a tough league. But on paper, this is a game that you go, this should be your bread and butter. If you're going to get European football, you've got to win this. And I still stand by that. This is a massively important game. But I'll tell you what, we're going to have to really roll our sleeves up here because Ipswich are no mugs. They ain't started the season badly at all. They've got some vital points here and then everywhere. Well, they haven't won a game yet, but they're not far off of it. And they really gave Villa a run for their money. And I thought they played really well. We're in for a game. Lopetegui's got to get this right. It's so vitally important, especially ahead of an international break, because, again, the media, those knives are going to be sharp. And if West Ham lose this game or even don't win it, a draw, the tension will turn on him. As I say, we've been given a little bit of a lifeline with what's going on at Man United, because that has eased things a little bit our way, because he's under considerable amounts of pressure up there, Ten Hag, and rightly so, because they were bloody hell, they were awful. So it's something we've got to take advantage of. West Ham really need now just to fully focus on getting things right for Saturday. It's a really important period. And do you know what? I feel for Lopetegui a little bit, the way things have been so far this season. I feel like he has been really scrutinised early, and I don't think he's been given enough backing publicly, certainly from the club, when things could have been put to bed. We've had a lot of these sort of Fabrizio Romano putting tweets out and stuff. It could have just been dealt with better. I look at it and just feel like I don't want to see our new head coach feeling like he's got to defend himself, defend his position this early on. It doesn't feel right to me at all. But that being said, regardless of all that, he's got to do his answer on the pitch. He's got a great opportunity here. He had this against Chelsea, as I said. He had a whole week and he cocked it up. He cannot repeat this. If we go into this game against Ipswich and look ill-prepared and the tactics are all off and players are being played out of position, etc., then he's in big trouble. He is in big trouble. Then I will have to say that, you've kind of got no argument, because there really is no excuse. Playing a team that's just been promoted from the Championship when you've got a team littered with quality like we have. Okay, it's still early on. I'm not suggesting that he's had ample time, but he's had enough now to get a good feel for this team and to realise, all right, he might not know his best 11, but you'd expect now we've got, 8 or 9 now, so that are sort of pretty much bang on. You know where they're going to be playing. There's a few tweaks maybe to be coming from this team. I'll talk about that in another video, but I look at this now and see a stepping stone. This is a vital game. And Lopetegui's now been given a real bit of easing of the pressure, because going into this game, a draw was needed. Something was needed against Brentford, and he got it. It enables him now to get a little bit of breathing space. It doesn't give everyone a big thumbs up. Had he got the win, I'd say the pressure on this game would have eased up a little bit. But the fact is we didn't win it. But the draw just kind of puts a pin in the pressure. Do you know what I mean? It just slightly eases it off. But I'll tell you what, it's going to mount up again if we don't get a result. The Ten Hag situation has really helped. It really has, because you look at the media today, there's nothing about Lopetegui, nothing about it. It's all about Ten Hag, and that's going to continue. That will continue now for a fair while. So Lopetegui's got to take full advantage of this. It's almost like flying under the radar, thinking, well, let's just go and get our result, go and get the 3 points. Let's get into mid-table before the international break, and things won't seem so bad. It's not going to be brilliant, but we've got tough games after that. We've got Tottenham and then Man United. Big games for us. And it's vital, absolutely vital, gets it right. And let's just hope and pray he doesn't make the same mistakes he did against Chelsea.